Welcome. I'm Rick McPartland, the founder of The Revenue Game and the Chief Revenue Scientist. Welcome to our series on revenue science, the context of business. In that series, we've got a subset that's about words matter. And if you're really going to practice any science, the words in the science have to mean the same thing to everybody practicing it. So this is our effort to help people focus on what these words really mean, because once you understand what they mean, you know what to do with them, or at least you can do something with them. And this one's being recorded in the middle of the coronavirus lockdown period. So to give it some context, right now there are two basic fears driving all of us, and all of us can be all of us individually or all of us collectively. And obviously one fear is the whole medical science virus life and death kind of thing going on, and obviously extremely important and very emotional, and we all need to really pay great attention to it. But the second one that's going on simultaneously, and for some of us, in some ways, it's even scarier, because I think we all believe we're going to fix the medical thing. But the second part is the business thing. And when I say we're going to fix the medical, some of us may never get a chance to fix the business. We may be out of business or gone, or so severely damaged we can't come back. So, let's figure out how to get rid of the business side of those fears, and let's see what we can learn on the business side from the medical side, because I think there's some sharing that can go both ways. But this focus is obviously on revenue science, and it's on the business side of this. And so what we're going to talk about are the words are around context, then specialty, or is it specialty, then context? I bet you have no idea what I'm talking about. If you take a look at history, and I'm a big history buff, those of you who follow this know, business has had strategy and concept of managing business for about 100 years. The first management theories, comprehensive management theories, really started to show up about 1920. And so here we are in 2020 with our virus economy. And so what's happened in that 100 years is we have evolved a whole series of highly sophisticated content areas. There's accounting and finance and marketing and sales and innovation and customer service and IT and HR. And all of these have kind of grown up independently. They grew up based on what was the problem that either the industry or a company had at a particular period of time. And to solve that problem, they created a discipline area, a content area of how do I keep international accounting practices when there aren't any. So they created finance areas and advanced CFO type accounting thinking. And certainly they didn't have IT issues until they had computers. So those things developed kind of as time required and as the opportunities or the challenges demanded. So, they were practiced all without any kind of context for survival. Each one was an individual's approach to momentary survival, but there was this no disciplined, long-term, strategic, science-based context. And so at least now we have revenue science as that context, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this. But what's really, really well practiced in business are these individual content areas. And they're practiced in business really without reference to the context of revenue science, because revenue science is, less than 10 years old. So most people aren't even thinking about it at all. Now, if we compare that to medicine, because here we are in the middle of this virus thing, and we have the businesses struggling mightily, and on the other hand, we have the medical side of this clearly more science-based than the business side right now. The business side's just saying, I don't know what's going to happen next, where the medical science is saying, we know what we need to be doing. But and they don't have everything they need, and there are issues, but They're not issues of we don't know where we're going. And if you think about it, medical science started almost 2,400 years ago. And medical science over that period of time has really focused context first, where business was content first. I figured out how to do accounting, then I figured out how to do marketing, advertising. Medical science really focuses on how do I think about keeping people healthy? How do I keep people alive? And then they turn around and focus on the content pieces. They don't start out by thinking, let's give everybody a good brain surgery. Let's give everybody new arteries. Let's replace everybody's heart. They don't think that way. On the business side, we think if we really get good at marketing or sales, that's all we got to do. We can get really masterful at one piece of content and our life's good. Medical science does it exactly the opposite. When they think of sending somebody to medical school, the first thing they do is they become a doctor, which is a generic context concept. Then they go to specialty school. Then they go to cardiology, or they go to neurology, or they go wherever they go second. And sometimes it's a third level of specialty. But it all emanates from the context of medicine and the context of the human and the health of the human. So business doesn't do any of that. Business says you go to business school, you don't come out with an understanding of revenue science. You come out as an accountant or a marketing person or a product designer. So what we want you to do is we want you to change that focus, because the words matter, and medical science has got it right. The context is medical science. And then they dive deep into the pieces. Business has not had any science. There's no context, only unaligned content areas of specialty. Revenue science is that context. So in this crazy time, I hope you step back and recognize that you better get that context. You better understand that science where you should be applying your accounting, and you should be applying your marketing and applying your sales, because the science is about how to make your business healthy. The one thing that guarantees a business survival is continually produce more profitable revenue. It doesn't say do more ads. It doesn't say hire more salespeople. It doesn't say create new products. The one statistical thing is continually produce more profitable revenue. And that is what revenue science does. So step back, focus on the context, not the content. Once you know your context, then the content becomes obvious, and you'll be able to apply it, and you'll be able to survive or better. Thanks for joining us. I hope this helps. And by the way, while this is being taped in the middle of the virus period, all the virus is really doing from a business standpoint is accelerating change. And so change is accelerating fast enough and will continue to do so that all of this is going to apply for the next 100 years. So context first, content second, to support the context. Thanks for joining us.